pot-ins have enjoyed their right to marijuana for a year now, but the state is deciding to take a second look at exactly what those joints actually contain. Early next year, all growers in the state will be required to test their products regularly for harmful contaminants and pesticides at a state-approved lab. Chara Scientific is one facility preparing for statewide testing.
Fungal contamination in marijuana is definitely an issue. I mean, it does happen and it's there. And I think the issue with marijuana is it's pretty new. I mean, after 80 plus years of prohibition, we haven't had a chance to study it to know what kind of things are present as contaminants, and then how do those affect human health.
Labs must test for 5 microbes:
E. coli, Salmonella, and 3 species of Aspergillus: Aspergillus flavus, Aspergillus niger, and Aspergillus fumigatus. I think it's a good thing that we're doing the contaminant testing. I think that it'll give us a lot of data, and it'll help us understand how to regulate marijuana going forward.
Some doctors have received more patients with adverse reactions to contaminants as well as high-potency marijuana since pot sales became legal earlier this year. But doctors say it's difficult to identify the direct cause of some symptoms. The lack of real data on the number of illnesses linked to tainted pot is leading some to question the need for testing.
You got to still say, well, are we being hysterical about things that we are just afraid of because we don't understand them? Or are these things to actually be afraid of?
Some consumers think that these new regulations just mean more red tape for small operations like Terrapin, whose business has been booming since recreational sales became legal in 2014.
Because that's what always happens when you have embedded regulatory cost, is it creates barriers to entry for new market participants, which of course, at the time, the industry definitely wanted. And again, as I was saying, to assume that someone is pro-legalization and a good guy is not the right assumption to make, right? Because there was a strong industry incentive to say, well, seems like the public interest is also interested in us not having competitors. Why not take advantage of that? We don't want competitors. So a lot of these things are designed for there be less competition, and it works, right?
Others see these new regulations as hope for patients who depend on medical marijuana. Stuart Higgins has been in the industry for almost 10 years, and while he isn't concerned with contamination in his own grow house, he worries about what even one serious case of contamination could do to the reputation of the cannabis industry.
A lot of dispensaries sell medicine and stuff that are contaminated. They're having issues, they're harvesting things early. There's premature stuff, there's stuff with mold because you're trying to grow all these strains and you're not monocropping. But I also think on the dispensary side, it can be reduced with more regulation, obviously, with batch testing and testing for contamination. Because as soon as people start dying from medicine from dispensaries, it doesn't look, that looks horrible on pretty much everybody in the industry.
While testing medical marijuana is an issue important to patients with a compromised immune system, the lobbyist we spoke with says that this fear is unnecessary among recreational users.
We've been buying black market pot for a very long time and are very accustomed to it not having mold and not having bacteria and not having E. coli and being potent, being pretty much what it says. And by and large, these are a lot of the same people growing it. I mean, the idea that we've entered this brave new world is the problem. This is not a brave new world.
We've seen such regulations favor the top distributors in other industries, such as food production. But will cannabis be different? Natalia Bayona with CU Boulder.